Are we live? Are we live? Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Victory Talk. I think we live. Can y'all hear us? Everybody hear us? All right, all right, all right. Y'all know what to do.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to Victory Talk. It is Friday, y'all. Happy Friday. Woo! Ain't nobody excited but me. It's Friday.
I'm happy.
We are so excited to be with you guys this evening for another edition of Victory Talk. Y'all already know it's the first Friday of the month, so you already know what time it is. It's time for hot topics at the sister table talk. We about to yes, yes. So I am here with my sister from another, Mr. Lady J. How you feeling, Pooh?
I'm good. I'm good. I can see you real happy it's Friday.
I am. I'm excited that it's Friday, and I'm excited for this beautiful weather that we're supposed to have this weekend.
I'm so looking forward to it. I already got plans. I'm going to be cutting my trees. I'm going to be digging up some stuff in my yard. I need to lay down some fresh mulch so that when my crocus come up, all right, they're going to be nice and pretty. So I'm excited.
Yes, come through spring. So we got our other sisters in the house. We want to give them an opportunity to say hey. We got our sissy Lisa. We got our sissy Erica. If y'all seen the singles episode, then you already know what you're in for tonight. She is back, y'all, better than ever. And we have our sissy Tanisha, who was with us talking about her business not too long ago.
Hey,
so she is
Tanisha.
back as well. Y'all want to say hey? Hey. All right, y'all. So we got a lot to cover tonight. So we're going to jump right into it. It's hot topics, y'all. So you already know it's about to be fire. So we're going to start off tonight talking about the FTC is investigating several companies over continued price hikes. Y'all already know, unless you've been living underneath of a rock, you already know that food prices, clothes prices, gas prices have just been skyrocketing off the chain lately, y'all.
Yes.
So some major companies are going to have to actually answer to the FTC this month on why they keep raising prices. Their answers are due by March the 14th. Not fast enough for this daggone gas that just went up again today. I don't know if anybody noticed. The Department of Justice said in February it's working to identify companies that's increasing profits while blaming supply chain disruptions, right? Like how long they're going to continue to blame it on the Rona. I don't know. So consumers wrote in about being unable to find oatmeal, cereal, and cat food. Many companies are taking advantage of high consumer demand to continue to raise prices when they don't need to, said an executive director of the Consumer Federation of America. He's saying as long as consumers are willing to pay those prices, there's no incentive to lower them. Consumers keep buying, so companies keep moving to second and third rounds of price hikes. Now, some lawmakers are concerned. They're saying it's no longer a business necessity, but rather a way for companies to make themselves richer. So our first question for tonight is, what are you guys' thoughts on this? What can we do as consumers? And is a boycott in order to make this even better? Or do you guys think that would even work? And anybody can jump on in there.
I do think a boycott is in order. Typically, it's supply and demand. That's how it's normally have worked. But for the fact that they know that we need this, and the more we buy it, the more that they're going to increase the prices, is showing you that they're definitely taking advantage of us, because they're not basing it off supply and demand. They're just, because we're buying it, that just gives them more of a reason. Oh, they're buying it, so let's just increase the prices. They're gouging us. Plain and simple. If we don't buy it, they're not going to have a need to keep increasing the prices.
I agree, but I just think that it's kind of difficult to boycott like your basic necessities. So like, where else are we supposed to go, and get toilet paper, food, grocery store items, when like all of the grocers are just going up on the prices. So I do think that there needs to be legislation and laws to step in, because like as a business, you know, you're out here to make revenue and a profit. And if nobody's telling you, nobody as in laws and governments telling you to stop, then, you know, until you're caught, it's like, okay, there's nothing in place for it to be stopped. So I definitely think that, you know, the higher powers in government need to step in, because there's little that we can really do as consumers. You know, we need food, we need to feed our families, we need basic necessities. So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I wonder if, like we organize everything else, you know, can we just organize? Because I know that when people put together and boycott other things, they'll just kind of get whatever it is that they need. They'll say, well, hey, this is the day that, or 2 days or however long that we're not going to, you know, support these businesses. We're not going to buy gas. We're not going to do whatever. And then, you know, all of a sudden, magically, when these boycotts happen, the prices start to come down a little bit. But I agree with you, Tanisha. I think that, and I'm glad that somebody is stepping in, because this is crazy. Like, the gas prices are higher than they are like at election time. Like, this is insane. And they're saying that we could very well see $5 a gallon within like the next month.
It's scary to me when I think about like how much these prices are going up, and then just knowing like globally what's going on, like, you know, potentially everything that's going on with like Russia and Ukraine. And I feel like sometimes that can even be an excuse to say, oh, well, we're just going to hike this up. You know, like we're panning the news to this trouble area in the world. You know, everybody's going to talk about it. It's the hot topic in the world right now to be talking about, you know, what's going on in Ukraine. But then on the oil business side, it's like, oh, this is a reason to just charge, you know, more money. But, you know, don't get me wrong, I do understand that, you know, Ukraine controls a large section of like the oil reserve and all of that. But I definitely think that, you know, it's always like a business agenda behind everything. So.
And what's sad about it all is that a lot of times when you see the prices continually to go up, and the people, we pay for it because, you know, yes, it's supply and demand. We've got to, you know, get to jobs and get to grocery store, get the children to school. We've got to eat this, that, and the third. But are they going to bring the prices back down? No, because if the consumer is paying it, and, you know, because they need it, then what's the incentive for them to bring the prices back down? And so a lot of times, yeah,
that's the only time it
that's
goes
the
down.
only time. That's the only time. And so a lot of times we find that, you know, we'll be in this cycle for a minute. But yeah, I do agree that the consumer has to unite. Because when we start to keeping our dollars and cents in our own pockets, you know, I don't know how many of y'all have yards. I don't know how many of y'all have window boxes or porches. Start planting some seeds, grow your own food, whatever you can grow for yourself. Do what you got to do, you know, start your own recycling within your own household, you know, start reusing. Kiana were laughing at me. What was it? Ash Wednesday. I juice and I take my glass salad dressing bottles and I wash them, I sterilize them, and I use them as my juice bottles. So, you know, save your money where you can save your money. That's what we're going to have to do. And that's what our parents did and our grandparents did back so many years. That's what they did. You know, waste not, want not.
I was about to say that historically, this is nothing really new. Historically, this is what our families have done in the past. And yeah, although I said boycotting, you do have to do some organization in it. Yeah, we can't boycott everything at one time. But we as a community have to realize the impact that we can have with our dollars in our community. But we have to do it strategically, and we have to do it in a way that it is going to be effective. And we can make an impact. There are basic necessities we have to do. But the realization is last year or year before last, when the pandemic came and everybody was scrambling for tissue and scrambling for paper towel, guess who was not? Not me. Because guess what? I knew it was coming. And I had inside information that it was coming. And I told my family members, and guess what we had? We had tissue. We had paper towel. We wasn't looking for it because we already had it. You guys have to plan and prepare ahead of time. And if you have these things, you can kind of be prepared so that you can have these things and you can help your neighbors and help your family members. But you have to be prepared and you have to anticipate so that they are not gouging you. Those are the things you have to do. And sometimes you got to stop using 10, 12 pieces of paper towel, using 10, 12 sheets of tissue when you can cut back and use 2 or 3, 4, so it can last you a little bit longer, because y'all know y'all going into a boycott, because there will come times that eventually they might have to start rationing out, because they've done it in war times where they had to ration out certain foods, certain things, because they were limited on the supply of things. And it's not though it can't be done. Times might be hard, but the realization is this is a sign of the times. And I think people just need to start waking up and paying attention that it is what it is. And we need to wake up and stop acting like what is happening is not really happening, and we need to prepare.
And you know what? It's definitely a good thing. Just to piggyback, off of what you were saying, I completely agree, because I'm the type of person that I keep stuff stocked. But, during the pandemic, it was almost like, okay, if you were running low and this was your time to make market and you hadn't already, you were just stuck. And so y'all will hear me all the time now saying, just because we went through this season of pandemic or whatever, we're supposed to live and learn. And so now I bet you won't catch me slipping anymore, even though things are back to normal and stuff is back on the shelves and it's back, regular. There's no limitations on stuff. I got my cases of stuff ready and prepared, because there's going to be a next time. So, it is my hopes that we all kind of learn something from this and are able to be a little bit better prepared for the next thing that comes around.
Yeah.
This is the new normal. I keep telling people, they keep saying when we go back, this is the new normal. It's never going to go back to how it was.
Yep.
This is definitely the new normal.
You want to chime in on that, Lisa? You got anything else to add?
I just feel like the whole thing is a government conspiracy type thing. And the reason why I say that is because all that stimulus money that they printed for everybody and everywhere, there was no gold to back it up. So one of the things you learn about the stock market and the printing of money and the treasury is that you pump money into the economy and then you have to pull it out. So this is now pulling it out, because if we don't, if we leave it, the value of the dollar goes down even more, and it's not worth anything in the World Trade Bank. So they have to do it. This is the downswing part of the whole money situation.
School them, sis. School them, sis. I hope y'all listen. If we be dropping jewels on Victory Talk, I'm trying to tell y'all.
Man, she's right. She's absolutely right.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, when everything first shut down, like I was going to your point being, it's a government conspiracy, or the government is behind this plan. And to my point of like, it's all business. It's all about money. When the pandemic first started, we couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't go to work. We couldn't take our kids to school. You couldn't go to the movies. You couldn't hang out. But you could go to Walmart. You could go to Target. You could go to the grocery store. So these large chains have never stopped seeing money. And at a time where you couldn't spend your money anywhere else, you couldn't go outside without a mask, but you could stand 5 feet or 6 feet away from somebody in line to check out the grocery store. So those businesses never stopped seeing money, and the only place you could spend your money was to them. So now, also, as we're coming out of the pandemic, so they say, but things are getting lax in some areas, and then for them to just start price gouging, it's just always something else, something next, to feed them money.
Because actually we messed up, according to them. Stimulus money is meant to be spent in the economy.
Right.
But a lot of us end up saving the money, paying bills with the money. It's not supposed to pay bills. Mm-hmm. It's supposed to be spent. So for the ones who went to buy TVs and all this other stuff, they did what the government hoped that they would do. For the ones who decided, I'm going to drop that in my savings because, whatever, or I'm going to catch up on some back bills or get ahead on some back bills, or even buy some stock. Oh, you messed up. You wasn't supposed to do that.
Mm.
That was not the plan. It's to stimulate the economy, not to help the people. It was never intended. So now we're going to feel it, with the $50 gas fill up. I felt like I was in Beverly Hills.
Oh my gosh.
Buying gas. I want my gas from the bottom of the barrel, not the top. I'm okay. Give me bottom stuff.
Right, almost like we paying diesel prices. Like, I don't have no tractor trailer. Like, come on now.
Like car.
I'm telling you, Phil told me, ma'am.
Package. I was like, what, ground beef? $9. Where? Why?
Listen, y'all
I'm
better
looking all the way in the back, trying to get to the one in the back. Nope.
y'all better get together and y'all better pool y'all money together and everybody better buy them a tractor trailer full of gasoline and fill y'all cars up. Y'all know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm saying. That's how y'all gas gonna be cheaper.
We're going
Wow.
to buy girls.
Go up to the store and seeing the pack that say $5.11, and then you pick up the pack that say $4.95, because it ain't no more of that. You're looking at $10, $12, $13.
Like those wings that we've been looking for that cost $15 for a pack of wings. Why, baby? Because the whole chicken ain't got but 2 wings, and y'all still got to buy the thighs, the breast, and the rest of that. But that price ain't gone up. But them 2 wings, why they cost $15 a pack?
The wings!
Y'all better start eating that side meat, player.
What'd you say?
Wings ain't done nothing to nobody. Why they going up? Because who eating the wings? Who?
The
Black
big
folk.
spenders.
Who wants the wings? Can't even get a wing dinner at Boyle Farms no more. They don't need that wing dinners no more.
Oh my God.
Y'all better make that switch to drumsticks or thighs or something.
Well, they know what they're doing.
Yes. And you people will quickly say, and Phil pointed this out the other day, you think it's just the meat. Somebody say, well, I don't eat meat anymore, so that really don't affect me. Listen, vegetables are going up just as much as the meat. I was looking at the price of bananas today. The price of bananas have doubled in a week. Last week I was getting them for 25 cents a pound. This week they talking about 53, 55 cents a pound, 59 cents a pound.
They see what they doing. They slide the prices in there, hoping y'all not paying attention to that other stuff. That's what they keep sliding it in there.
Yeah.
Y'all better start doing some what they say, those little veggie gardens and those box gardens. I'm telling y'all better be ready. It's about to be spring. That stuff start coming up and y'all be ready to go.
I got a half an acre. I can start renting off some plots.
You better
I can start renting off some.
There you go.
Hey, lady, next topic. We got a comment from Tina Turner. Hey, sis Tina, she's on YouTube at live, and she says she's at $200 a week with gas prices.
People got to go back to carpooling, car sharing.
Yes.
It's getting to that point. We got to start pooling together.
Yes.
To make it work.
Oh my.
Because otherwise, you're gonna be working just to pay that.
Yeah.
At the gas pump, making life decisions. Do I eat today, or do
I work at home? Lord, thank you.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Let's hit this other topic, because this is hot. Y'all want something hot? This hot. This is juicy hot. Okay. So he was comfortable doing it. Samuel L. Jackson slams Joe Rogan's use of the N-word. Actor Samuel L. Jackson, a man known for saying an explicit or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. Okay, because y'all know how he do. He has weighed in on the Joe Rogan controversy, Recently, the white shock jock's name was plastered across national headlines after clips of him saying the N-word were leaked on social media. Was it leaked though? I'm just saying.
Mm.
There were various episodes of his podcast where he colorfully and boldly used the word that has since gone viral. Rogan has since apologized, but stated that the word is unique because only certain people can use it. If a white person uses it, it's racist, it's toxic. But a black person can use it, and it can be a punchline, it can be a term of endearment, it can be a lyric to a rap song, it can be a positive affirmation, Rogan said. It's a very unusual word, but it's not my word to use. I'm well aware of that now. Are you though? There is no context where a white person is ever allowed to say that word, never mind publicly on a podcast, Samuel L. Jackson says. He is saying nobody understood the context when he said it. He continued, but he shouldn't have said it. It's not the context, dude. It's that he was comfortable using it. In the past, Jackson has made exceptions to this rule. White men can use the term when they are working on a film and it fits into the authentic narrative of the character. So my question to y'all tonight is this. What do you think about this? Is it ever okay for a non-person of color to use this term? Y'all know I say clear people. Better yet, is it okay for people of color to use this term?
I'm not going first.
So I'm really big.
I'll jump. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm not big on what people do. You know, people do what they do. But I will say, don't nobody ever, I don't care what color you are, you call me that. Ever. I have a name. You can say Miss, Sweetheart, or Honey. But don't ever. I'm going to have a problem. Or you're going to have a problem.
Catch these. To me, that's like spitting on you.
I feel like this is another case of, his whole, it's not my word to use. I'm well aware of it now. Like, dude, how many cases have we heard of people that are, in their comfort zone and they're saying this word and then they're winding up with consequences and repercussions. They're losing jobs. They're losing record deals. They're losing, sports contracts. Like this is nothing new. So, to say that you're well aware of it now, you said what said, you knew what you said. They actually played multiple different clips of him saying it over and over. So this was not just, a one-time thing. So in his case, he knew what he was doing. He meant what he said, I've always personally been one to not be a fence rider with this thing. I really don't think that it's okay for anyone to use it. That's just my personal thought process because of the word and where it derived from and what it was intended to mean. So while we as people of color typically use it as a term of endearment, I just, I've kind of always that hasn't really sat well with me. But I mean, to each his own, it's a cultural thing. It's something that people are going to do. I do find it, ironically enough, I was watching an episode of The Fresh Prince, the Bel Air show. And little spoiler, y'all, I'm about to give a little spoiler, my bad. It's a tiny one, but there was a scene where Carlton and he was surrounded by a group of his white peers at school, and they were rapping a rap song, and it was and this and that and that. They were all in the thing, and he was singing with them, and Will walked in, and he's like, wait, like he pulls him up, he's like, what are you doing? Like, and he yelled at the one guy, and he's like, that's not okay, like that, trying to fight. And so, that was just a prime example of people feeling comfortable saying it, but they just have to keep in mind that it's still offensive to a lot of people.
Yeah.
You just got to be careful. You know, you can't. I have friends of all colors, nationalities, whatever, but none of them are going to use that word. Like, it's just not okay. That's just my little 2 pieces. Would you go ahead, Tanisha?
Oh no, I agree with you here. I was gonna harp on that line that was said, that he didn't know until now. Like, that whole "now" word was like, sir, you've been in this world for a long time.
Right.
You've, like you said, there's been other situations. So you're now realizing that it's unacceptable. You already knew. You already knew what it was. You know. Yeah.
Okay, Erica,
and
go
then
on.
The second part of the question about movies and like historical narratives going forward. My thought to that is, I understand not saying it ever, but then if we don't say it, if it's not stated in movies, like historical movies, are we going to erase that time to like future generations? Is my only thought. And I don't like, not to say like people getting away with history or getting away with it, but if we don't write it in there in that specific context of
Right.
of historical movies reenacting things from the 17 and 1800s, then the next generation may not know the severity or the impact that it had. So that's just my point to that specific. But no, in day-to-day conversation, I don't surround myself with people, and I have friends of all different races that would say that towards me or just speak about it in general. So.
And I think, to your point, just to piggyback off that really quickly, that is important. It's definitely important for people to know where it came from and the history behind the word, because I feel like the younger generation coming up, we're totally not trying to erase it from the history books or anything, because they won't know, and then they will feel more comfortable. This is something that they've always grew up saying. They're like, oh, that's my friend. Like, it's a term of endearment. Y'all use it. Why can't I? So, yeah, definitely having those important conversations. But and even in this context, Samuel L. Jackson made a comment about Leonardo DiCaprio having to say it. And apparently he was extremely uncomfortable. He had to say it in the movie Django Unchained. And he was like begging, like, to not say it. He was like, I really don't feel comfortable saying this. I understand it's a movie, but I don't feel comfortable. And they basically said, well, we wrote the movie and you got the part, so you have to. And so, even in that mindset, I'm like, okay, respect to him, because if it's bothersome to, a non-person of color to say that, then, I mean, that's the whole point. It should be.
I wanted to jump in there because I want to say I find it, for me, I find it bothersome that our younger generation are so comfortable in using it, whether it's in lyrics or terms of endearment. They're so comfortable that, as if, to say it's okay for me and my brethren to use the term, but it's not okay for you. I feel like across the board, it's just a word that, I feel like it just shouldn't be being tossed around so cavalierly, like, and they rapping about it, they sing about it, they talking about it, my this, my, like, and I think that that's what makes other races feel as though, hey, you crossed the line, you said it, so why is it a word that's off limits to me when you use it? And if that's how you address, each other, or, whatever, why is it okay? And so I just think that, we as a people kind of opened up the door to make it okay for the term to be used. And I think that, you know, it's some light needs, and I'm sure that, and I know that, you know, this is not the first, you know, type of podcast or show that's had this conversation. But I really feel as though, you know, it should be an ongoing conversation, because people need to know that across the board, it just is not okay.
Right.
So that's just my 2 cents on it. But Erica, you real quiet.
I'm quiet because I think Jackie and youth. So me working with youth, I've often had to meet them where they are.
Mm.
You know, I've done the mentoring, I've done the showing up at schools with them, trying to talk to them. And I feel like part of the disconnect with the younger generations is that they're misinformed and they're just not educated. I know for me, growing up, I know what that word meant. I know where it derived from. I know from my great grandfather, from him talking and telling me about his 5th grade education. I know what he went through with that word growing up in the South. I know what his parents went through. I know that he didn't like that word. I know what even with that 5th grade education, he grew up, became a county commissioner. He grew up with only that 5th grade education, was on the board of hospitals, and still was a man who never wore a hat because he did not want to have to tip his hat to a white man. This, I know what that word meant. So because of that, we didn't use that word. But I was educated about that, living in the South, growing up in the South. So for me, that's not a term of endearment. That didn't come for me in my generation. It didn't come that way for my mother's generation. My children and them, yeah, for them it was, until I educated them. For my grandchildren, I'm teaching them. That's not a term of endearment. Other people are not so fortunate to get that kind of an education, so they're misinformed.
Right.
They don't get that. These young people don't get that, and they don't understand what that means. I keep hearing them talk about, well, if you use it with ER on the end, it means this. If you use it with A on the end, it means that. No, it's still, it derived to mean something degrading. I don't care how you spell it. It meant to control us. It meant to degrade us. That's what it derived from. I don't care how you slang it and spell it or whatever. That's what it meant. So whoever is saying it, that's still what it means. And we should have some pride in ourselves to not try to use it as a term of endearment amongst ourselves, in our color, in our culture, in our circle, because of what our people and ancestors had to go through in using that word. But it really, to be honest, it's just going to take a lot of education, a lot of pride for our people and our young people and our generations after that to understand that that's just not something that we should use. It starts with us. If we don't start having some pride about it, ain't nobody else going to do it.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons why they feel like they so loosely can say it. That's why they say, well, y'all say it. They feel like they can.
Absolutely. All right, we got any comments before we jump on to the next? Hold on. We got, hey, Sunshine. Sunshine is tuning in. She said, hey, everybody.
Hey.
Sunshine says, yeah, true. We should all stop using the word. And I know that, you know, it's been just a conversation that has been had for a long time. But unfortunately, generation after generation, it's just, you know, it's a trickle down effect. And so somebody's just got to say, you know, enough is enough. They didn't call us for long enough and are still calling us this. And we just, you know, I feel like we get enough of that from other people, you know, so we leave that one alone.
They use it under their breath, verbally, you know.
Yeah.
It's
enough. I'm glad that Erica brought up the whole the A and the ER, because at the end of the day, it's the same word. You know, no matter how you spin it, it's the same. Yeah. All right, y'all, we're going to roll on down to our next topic. So this is a little sensitive, y'all, but we definitely want everybody to be able to chime in on this and give your opinion. So the title of this topic is, I wasn't aware that you're a person of color. A woman demands a refund after finding out that the business owner is Black. And y'all know we try to keep it, we pick one topic from each area, but this just so happened to just wind down on from the last one. So we gonna jump in there and talk about this. So in a viral TikTok video, a Black business owner shared an email that she received from a client demanding a refund after the client found out that the business owner was Black. She says, "Can you please cancel my order? Unfortunately, I wasn't aware that you're a person of color, and I just don't like to support small businesses that do not align with my version of support," she wrote in an email. According to the email, she followed up her request with racist stereotypes. She says, "Before you start and go on a race tirade, please be aware that it is called my preference, because we are all aware of how you people like to act when things don't go your way," the client wrote. Yes, she did with the you people. She went there. She says in the email, said the owner should have made it clear on her site that she is a Black woman, but the owner has about the owner page. And so I'm not really understanding. If you have an about the owner page, anybody who's used the computer or been to a website know that 90% of the time there's a photo on there. So she says, to make matters worse and to just throw salt in the wound, the client demanded that she receive a refund by the next day and ended the email by alluding to Martin Luther King Jr. Day, saying, "Also, happy holiday, isn't it your people's holiday today?" So in the TikTok video, the business owner was expressing her disappointment in the client's prejudice. She said, "I'm just disturbed by the fact that you thought this was okay. You could have just asked for a refund. I don't ask questions on why people want refunds. This is not okay. We need to do better in 2022. So the TikTok video has received over 113,000 views at the time of print, and several users showed their support for her. Some suggested that the owner share the email with the client's employer, because y'all know we getting smart nowadays. When these people say and do these things, we going straight for the jugular. Listen, you about to be unemployed or some more stuff, so run tell that. Others also said they wouldn't issue a refund if they were in the same position. So the business owner said in a comment that she had already issued the refunds to the client. Question being, what do you guys think about this? And if you were the business owner, how would you have handled it? Would she have gotten a refund or no?
Who will go first?
She would not. I'm sorry.
Who will-
Huh? What'd you say, E?
I said, who want to go first? Because I'm a business owner. So who want to go first?
I listen.
And I don't give no refunds. It's clearly about my stuff. I'm not giving no refunds if it's not a damage to the product or a defect in my product. I don't give refunds. But who want to go first?
You might as well.
Based upon that issue, period.
I wouldn't have given her a refund. I just wouldn't have. Based on the reason why she stated she wanted a refund, and I agree, Erica. She didn't say it was anything wrong with the product. She didn't say that the goods were damaged. It sounds like she hadn't even received whatever it was that she ordered. You know, because it sounded like, you know, she made the purchase and then realized that the woman was, of a different race, we'll say, and then she decided that no, she didn't want the item. Listen, my product wasn't damaged. You hadn't even received it yet. I would not have given her a refund. And I'm like you, Key. I think I would have been looking forward to find out who she worked for. I would have blasted, in a nice way, put her racist, because she's being racist. Clearly, openly, she's being racist, and you can't be prejudiced based on race, color, creed, all of that. No. I wouldn't have given her a refund.
I'm sorry. I would have had to have some deep prayer before I responded to her. However, I probably would have asked her, what percentage of white would you like me to be? Because my grandfather is white.
Ooh.
I bet you she wouldn't have had a response for that one.
Probably need to tell her to check her DNA because she probably ain't pure white
Because we
either.
might be cousins.
Yes, Sunshine. She said, "You people." Yes, she
You
did that.
people. And then she gonna refer to your people's holiday.
You know, and listen, I'm all for. I get what the viewers are saying. You know, they wouldn't have refunded her anything. Listen. I hear you, sis Erica, but this is just me. I'd have gave her her little funky money back.
To be honest,
I don't want your money. I don't want your money. I don't want anything from you. But I definitely would have. I can appreciate the fact that we as a people are learning, and this is what this is key, y'all. We are learning how to fight back the right way.
Yeah.
Going for people, blasting people online, whether you got to call the news station, plaster their photo up on social media, if you know where they work at, because these dummies, and I'm gonna say they're dummies, because whoever is dumb enough to say and do these things with a public profile with their employment information or their soccer coach or whatever they do, I'm telling.
Yeah.
So if your job chooses not to do anything or whatever have you, but by the time I get finished rallying up my people and we get finished sending emails and letters, you're going to learn today. So, yeah.
It's just the blatant disrespect
Yeah.
and the blatant prejudice and bias that you would have to do that. You take a risk every day when you go out here and purchase, whether online, whether in retail. You don't know where that product came from. You don't know who produced that product. You have no idea where that product came from.
Right.
You don't have any idea. So you didn't buy it from me. You don't know who made it. You just do not have any idea. And to be honest, my first response was telling you she wasn't getting no refund. I wouldn't even wanted her dollars. She'd have got that back so quick, I probably would have took it to her house and delivered it.
That's what I said. I don't want your funky money. I really don't.
But I definitely probably would have asked her, well, what percentage of white would you want me to be? Because my granddaddy is white. He is. When people look at me and be, oh, I love your eyes, I'll be like, thank you. My grandfather was white. And they contacts, but he is white. And when I apply for jobs now, you know what I check? White and black. I'm putting it both on there. Both. Because he is.
I know that's right. She said, I'm checking all the boxes.
All that apply. All of them.
But you know what? It's funny that you say that because truth of the matter is we all Heinz 57 catch up. We all mixed up. Who in here?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Who in here is straight black?
Erica, mine's documented. Mine is, hey. So I'm checking all mine. I'm playing. Next.
All right, Miss Victoria, she a little late on the cut up, but she here cutting up.
She here cutting up.
Hey, Mama Victoria. She said I will be looking for the address to where they mail the product and treated her the way they did Vince's Crab House.
And y'all know how that went down. They was begging people like, look, here, I'm sorry. They was begging. Please make them stop.
Tell you, there's power in the black consumer dollar.
Yes.
Like, we don't realize the power that we have, and we sit back and allow people to do whatever we want. We don't have to tolerate that. We don't.
Kendra, laughing at Kendra's comment. Go ahead, Jeff.
Kendra said, I'm straight off the boat black.
Kendra said, I'm straight up out the boat black, okay? She like, don't let this fair skin this melanin is popping in my Cardi B voice.
Hey, Kendra, cut it out.
All right, y'all. We near the top of the hour. We want to try to get these last two in if we can.
Okay, yeah, because we got to talk about this guy.
You want going down to number 5?
Number 5, go to number 5.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's yours.
All right, I got it so you can close out. I got it.
That's
All
yours.
right, y'all. So on a more serious note, because we didn't cut up for a little bit, the vast majority at a Baltimore high school read at an elementary level, some at a kindergarten level, an assessment says. So at Patterson High School in Baltimore, 77% of students tested at an elementary school reading level at the beginning of this school year. They have a nearly $12 million budget, which was underlined and bolded. They have a $12 million budget, but they shared their iReady test results with Fox 45 Baltimore. So in their defense, they're saying that the iReady scores do not provide a complete or final picture of student performance. They just use this to provide checkpoints on progress during the school year. And they're stating that this was the first checkpoint for students after 18 months of disruption caused by the pandemic. More than 480 students who took this test scored at an elementary grade level, including 71 students who were reading at a kindergarten level, 88 students reading at a first grade level, and 45 reading at a second grade level. Now we're talking about high school kids, y'all. The school district said Patterson High School is allocating $70,000 to purchasing a reading intervention program, which is targeting 9th grade students who read below a 6th grade level. They're now going to create 11 sections of new reading classes and reading stamina for the first 15 minutes of class to provide students with new software to practice reading at home. Now, y'all know we've been hearing this story for so long, I can't even remember. But we want to know, what are y'all's thoughts on this? How is this considered acceptable? And who is really to be held accountable for this ongoing issue? Because some say it's all the school's fault, some say it's the parents' fault, and some say it's a mix. So what do y'all think?
I definitely believe it's a mix. I
Yeah, I
definitely
think it's a mix.
Yeah, it's a mix because the teachers can't teach it all at school. And if I'm sending my child to school to learn, I want them to learn while they're at school too. So, but in this, we saying this is a high school. This is a high school. This is high school. So then my concern is elementary school, middle school, and now they in high school, but they still reading at a.
See,
There's
the
a
concern I
disconnect
have is,
somewhere.
I have some friends that are teachers, and from listening to them just talk about the pandemic and prior to that, the grading system, like they aren't allowed to fail them anymore. So like I've had friends say, okay, well, they don't do their homework, and I've asked it for the same assignment for 2 days now. They turned it in with just their name or halfway complete. I'm supposed to grade it. It's a failing, but I can only give them a D, and a D is passing. So now you're passing children that aren't doing the work. So, but then I go to the parents. So why isn't your child doing their homework? Why didn't you, where is that disconnect that, for me growing up, my parents were involved. I probably didn't like how much they were involved. They made me, had reading, doing my summer projects, making me read an extra book. Like they only told me I had to read 3. You want me to read 4? So, now I'm very much grateful. But, having involved parents, making sure that like you're going to the parent teacher conferences and figuring out what's going on with them. You have children to raise them to make sure, I would hope, to have a better life than you have,
Absolutely.
But we're dropping the ball. We can't expect it all on the teachers. I know to say that, the teachers are supposed to be teaching. I'm not a teacher, so I don't know what exactly goes on, but just from the feedback that I get from my friends, and they tell me that, the homework that they get back is just not completed or incomplete, and then they have to pass them. So we're passing kids along that aren't doing the work, but there's nothing that they can do because that's their law. That's what they're required to do.
When did it become that they can't fail students?
Fail. Why? Yeah, I wanted to know what is it about they have to pass them? So,
like the lowest grade, they can't give them a 0. Like the lowest grade they can get is a 60, even if they put their name on it.
So yeah, the No Child, well, they call it something different in Baltimore City, but it was called No Child Left Behind in Baltimore County. And
The
that's
remnants of that.
that's been around since I was actually in school.
Heard that about the No Child Left Behind. I mean, my kids went through that, but of course, my kids didn't fall in that because they wouldn't get left behind in my house.
Right. But I'm saying
That's parenting. That's having a good parent. You know what I'm saying? So,
Lisa, you wanna chime in on that one?
I blame the schools. 100% I blame the schools. One, because we have a third of the population of adults are functional illiterate. So you can't teach your children because you can't read yourself.
Yeah.
But you manage to get jobs. Now we got applications we do online. So Kiera, you can do my application online. All I gotta do is show up for the interview. If it's jobs like security work or McDonald's, they're not really asking me no questions. I don't really have to speak. And when we go to those establishments, those kids can't even talk to us. Well, those young adults or adults, they can't even talk to us. They have no customer service skills and all this other stuff because, that's not a part of who they are. So you take these kids who, like for instance, you send a child to my house with core math, it's going to be wrong. They're going to have the correct answer, but to finish the work, how they get the answer, that part is going to always be wrong because that's something I don't know. I don't know core math. I know regular math or the old traditional Filipino math, however you want to call it. And it doesn't take me that long to get the answer. I can do that math in my head, but they can't because of this core structure that they set up. So now when you have the reading and all this other stuff, because reading at a 6th grade level is kind of necessary because our newspaper, which nobody seems to get anymore, is 6th grade level. Magazine writing is 6th grade level. So, but a lot of them can't. So it can't really be the parents' fault because the parents never learned and their parents probably never learned. So we got generations of people not learning. Remember, we weren't allowed to read. So then a few of us are allowed to read. And it's still that way today. That has not changed.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that, Lisa, because to piggyback off of that, I feel like that part of the solution, I'm not even going to say a tiny part, a big part of the solution, if you ask me, is educating the parents. How about we take some of that money and not just keep trying to buy all the things and saying that we're going to fix it? If the parents can't read, how are they going to help the children read?
Right.
So how about developing some type of programs where the parents can come in and learn at the same time? It's called breaking generational curses for a reason. If I can't read, then when my child comes home and they can't read, we're both going to be looking at each other like, okay, what do you want me to do? So yeah, I blame a lot of it on the school system, not necessarily the teachers, because I know, and Tanisha probably knows, having friends as teachers as well, man, these teachers will bring the kids to their house and teach them if they could. They go above and beyond to try to help these kids. About looking at the bigger picture and starting support groups, getting the tools together. Now the parents, they got to show up, but opening up the doors for the parents to be able to be educated as well. That's how you start to fix it.
Yeah. I think it definitely.
I'm sorry, Jen.
Go ahead.
Oh. So I raised 3 children in Baltimore County schools. And I've definitely seen a shift, per se, because I now have 6 grandchildren. 5 are in school. And I can say just recently, 5 girls, 1 boy, 4 girls are in not PG County, but way down there near DC. And then the 1 boy is in Baltimore County. So recently I had a discussion with the boy, 13 years old, and he was going over his grades, and he mentioned he had a C, a D, and an E. I was like, what's the E? I was confused. So I'm like, so you get 2 chances to fail? Because you get an E before the F? basically, I'm lost. Then he tells me the E is in Spanish. I said, well, what's the problem? Well, my teacher tells me to use Google Translator. Duh. Yeah, y'all faces is looking just like mine. So basically, he got problems in it because his teacher tells him to use Google Translator to learn how to do Spanish. So you ain't never gonna pass this class.
Right.
Because you being left to teach yourself and you using Google Translator to try to figure out how to learn Spanish.
Wow.
Your mama don't know no Spanish, so that's a wrap. And you got an E in it, which is one step near failing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is we talking about an A-B student. That's what we talking about. Because his other classes, he got A's and B's. But wait, what?
Wow.
But when I asked his mom about his report card, oh, I ain't seen it. Oh, hold up, wait a minute. That's when I'm like, there's something going, something is wrong here. But at the same time, part of it is the school, and then part of it is like, what these kids got to work with. Because I'm like, well, maybe we need to get you some help. But if the teacher ain't trying to help you learn these, they don't want to do what they need to do in this Spanish class, and they telling you to use Google Translator. What's the point?
Yeah.
What the kids supposed to do?
Yes. Yeah. We got a couple comments. Let's get these comments in there. Jesse Davis, Jr., and welcome to the show, sir. He says in Baltimore, it's called No Child Left Behind, but they can give you a 50 as the lowest grade. But after 2 years of failing a kid, I believe they will just pass you. That's really crazy. That's crazy. Miss Victoria says, so you shortchange yourself and your child. You have not because you ask not. How do you know that you can't read? You have to seek help for yourselves. Yes, they do. But Jesse comes back and says that's what they do. And I believe that what his comment is here is he says it's a shortcut to help them. And I think that he's referring to the Google translator. And I have heard that, they do tell them to use these Google translators to help, but it shouldn't be that the Google translator is the teacher, Miss Victoria says, at the end of the day, the buck gets passed around and there's plenty of blame for everyone. And you're right, Miss Victoria. Yeah, the buck is going to get passed. And unfortunately, what happens is that our children, they're suffering the consequences, because even though they get passed along, and that bothers me. Even though they get passed along, in the long run, at the end of the day, when they get to graduation and they go to their next, God willing, go to their next levels in life, and they can't read, or they can't add or subtract or multiply, or those cognitive skills, when they can't do that, then we as a people have failed them. And then what's happening? We're causing them to not be able to get employment, not keep employment, and then you start the cycle of poverty, and then violence, because they've got to make ends meet in some way, shape, or form. And y'all know what happened. What happens. The street gets them, and then the street gets them, and then the street teaches them.
Oh, I got it. I'm sorry. I know we running low on time, but Kendra chimed in and said Ayana is having problems with a professor who keeps telling her to go to the writing center for help when she's asking him to explain the assignment. So she's saying it doesn't end in high school, unfortunately. And we're talking about a college student, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something's got to give.
Yeah.
I know I'm sick and tired of excuses. And, you know, my children are in Baltimore County schools, but I declare it almost makes me want to up and just move to the city so that I can sit on these boards and demand a change. Y'all built these casinos talking about the revenue's going to go to the schools. You got $12 million. Where? Where are the renovated schools? Where is the air conditioning? Where are the computers? Where are the school supplies? Where is the tutoring? Where is the updated computer lab? Like, I make it make sense, because it doesn't.
Yeah, yeah. Jesse Davis says they have an app on phones that's called PhotoMath. It does the teacher's job. Listen, it wasn't created for that, and the teachers are getting paid. I'm done. I'm done.
And Ayana going to school, they pay. I mean, you in college, you paying for those classes. That's foolishness.
Facts. That makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Lisa, were you gonna say something?
I agree, because I'd be like, I need my money's worth. Or I'm gonna need some of my money back.
Right.
Facts.
Right. That's crazy. That's crazy. I don't know. But it's 8 o'clock, y'all. I'm over here getting the gang signs. It's 8 o'clock, y'all. I wanted us to close out on this other topic, and just like, can I at least get it? Can I get it?
Also, can we just get it in without reading the whole thing?
Okay, so I won't read the whole thing. So this one is really good. It's every student at 5 Chicago high schools are to get free college tuition. A nonprofit says in Chicago, students funneling into the Al Raby High School. Did I say that right? Raby High School auditorium in Chicago on Tuesday, and they had no idea that each and every one of them was about to hit the lottery. This guy, Pete Cadens, a wealthy businessman who has started 3 companies, told each of the students that their college tuition, their room and board, their books, and all fees will be paid for, and they will go to college for free. But listen, y'all, he didn't just end it there. He said every student at the high school and 4 other Chicago schools would have those things paid for them. And because poverty is an intergenerational problem, one parent from each household, one parent from each family gets to go to college also for free, y'all. For free. And so I'm going to just stop that right there, because there's so much more. But I just want to say that.
That's where I'm from, Chicago.
So I just want to say that I just kudos to this man. Kudos to this man. Over the next 10 years, Cadence and other donors plan to invest $1 billion into Hope Chicago, so that these dividends will roll down, so these children and at least one parent will be able to go to college for free. Amen. So praise God. Thank you. So as we're having this conversation and we're talking about how the children are getting left behind, I thank God that there's somebody out there trying to do something. And he's one of our clear brethren. And he says that.
Listen, I was actually about to say I'm going to look him up and ask him, can he come to Baltimore or talk to his Baltimore peeps and get something like that? And I get your phone number for you, Erica.
Yeah, you know I got peoples up there. I'm from Chicago. I'm going up there.
All right, y'all. That's it. Kiara said, listen, I'm about to gather the squad, march down to the city hall. Oh Lord, she can ready to go down to city hall herself and camp out until we get answers. This is despicable. Listen,
you do know nobody's at city hall, right?
I'm out there. So when they see me out there with my camping gear and my waters and my snacks The news crew is gonna roll up and be like, "What this crazy lady doing?" And then I'm gonna be on the news, exposed. Bam, there you go.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. Thank you for telling me.
Close the news.
They've been closed since the pandemic. Our kids don't live
It don't even matter because you know what? And we're gonna carry this to the after party. We're gonna carry this conversation to the after party, but by the time I get finished calling Fox Baltimore while they investigating everything else, they're here.
Here, waiting for people to come to City Hall.
All right, y'all. All right, y'all. I am your host, Lady J. Y'all had to catch the rest of this.
We out here.
Y'all have to catch the rest of this on the after party. Y'all check out YouTube later, our YouTube page, and y'all will catch the rest of this on the after party. I am your host, Lady J, and your girl.
It's the girl T.
And we are excited that you guys joined in with us tonight. This was truly, truly an interesting conversation, but we gotta go. We'll see y'all next week. We will see y'all next week. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. Good night.
Good night, everybody.